Hi, Willie Mayette from pianowithwillie.com. I want to welcome you to this lesson on slow minor blues. What I'm going to do in this lesson is, actually it's kind of funny because when I started recording this lesson, I was going down one path and I'm like, yeah, I want to change this a little bit. And what I ended up doing is I wrote out 5 different blues progressions. 3 of them are in 4/4 time, 2 of them are in 6/8 time, like I was just doing there. And I go through and I show you the bass line, I show you the chords. We talk very little about improvisation. We're actually going to do improvisation in a whole separate lesson. So this isn't about improv. The main goal of this lesson is to get you really feeling comfortable knowing your minor blues and all different variations of it. Different tritone substitutions, different motion of the chords, right? And different ways in which you can mix and mingle these progressions together. So rather than just being stuck on one progression. Even at the end, I even talk about how you can go from 4 into 6, back into 4 and whatnot. Minor, G minor, and then to a D minor, and then to C minor, and then to G minor, and then D minor. Now you're probably hearing that, wait a second, that D minor chord sounds a little bit odd, all right? And you would be right, your ears are not fooling you. When we're playing a minor blues, we take the 5 chord and we make it a dominant 7th chord. It's real simple to figure out why that is. If we have D minor 7, look at what's happening to the 3rd, right? The 3rd has to go up to that root, okay? It's a whole step motion, whereas that 3rd now, as a major 3rd, has a nice half step and it moves us right up into that G, okay? So it's the 7th moving right up into the tonic, right into the G. Now, what you also get in that dominant chord is, once again, that tritone, right? That interval is very tense and it wants to resolve down. Now if I just play very simply, here's the 3rd and 7th for G minor, what's going on? First of all, what's happening is, this is a basic progression of just the 1 chord, the 1 minor chord, going down to the 5 chord, but doing it in a minor way, all right? And what I mean by that is, see those notes? Those notes are all from that natural minor scale, aren't they? So we have the G, the F, E flat, and D. Right, so you see how we have that E flat in there? Whereas if we were doing kind of like in a major kind of style, do something like that, or even, but we're throwing in that E flat dominant 7th going to the 5/7 chord, right? This little progression here is a fantastic progression to know, because this is the kind of thing where, you know, even if you're playing with a band, you know, let me just throw the drums on here again. You know, just, you're waiting for something to happen. You know. So here we go. Oh, sorry, this should be up an octave. Five, and then 3, 2, 1. Okay, so start with that first section again, and that's exactly what I did here. Is I did a quick 4. However, if you were just doing 4 for, if you were doing the 1 chord for 4 beats, it would just be. And if you needed to do the bass line for that, you could just simply do. So just root 5, root 5, root 5, root 5 for the first 2 measures, right? And then go on to measure 3. Right? Not super exciting, but it would work for you. You could also probably do. Nah, that actually wouldn't work. So anyway, root 5 for 2 measures if you're holding that G minor for 4 measures, right? We are not in this progression. So G minor, then C minor, G minor, G minor, C minor, C minor, G minor, G minor. You can do that. I actually wrote out this though. I did write out the E flat. Okay? Now, what this progression does is, first of all, in measure 4, what's happening is, rather than just playing G minor again in measure 4, we do a D minor 7 flat 5 to a G7 altered, right, with a sharp 9. Now, maybe this time through, I keep the G for the whole 2 measures, so measure 3 and 4, I just stay at G, and then back to C, G. But I want to do that other turnaround. Okay? So you see, I can take these little snippets and I can bring them into other progressions. Now, this is a great way of being able to create a long blues song. So you'd start with one progression, then you go to the next progression, but then you start to mingle, then back to G minor 7, but then I do that D flat dominant 7th chord before I hit that C minor 7 chord, right? So remember, D flat dominant 7th is the tritone substitution for G7. So you know how before I was doing that D minor 7 flat 5 to the G7 altered, right? And then I went to C minor. Well, check this out. D minor 7 flat 5, G7 altered. Take a look at those notes. Focus on those notes for a second. Okay, D minor 7 flat 5, G7 altered to C minor. Now look at what I'm doing. So G minor. Now they are actually, it's a little bit advanced, I wasn't going to talk about that, but I approached the B flat as well. Root, 5th, 7th. And you see that we play the 1 chord for 4 measures this time. Then we go to C, root, 5th, 7th, root, root, and then here I did 5th, 3, 2, okay, because I wanted to get down to the G. I could have just stayed at that. Just hold it on down. If that's too big, you can just do that.